I mean, you just get her in a tent looking at Goblin Slayer like,
oh my god, I don't like how that was actually kind of good.
yeah. Hello and welcome to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we review the first volume of a brand new manga each week. My name is Josh Second Chance Michaels, and today, as always, I'm joined by...
Megan, oh holy night, Perrine!
Cody the Goblin Ducker.
I did it again.
You have a very goblin quality about you, sir.
I've several.
Ooh, it's not a good thing to say about someone.
Especially in the context of this story.
I meant like
you know what I mean.
I was thinking
any
like
story,
my nose,
though.
but yeah, that's a...
Yeah, that's what I meant,
Yeah, that's
too.
not what you want to identify with.
Yeah. If
They're
you
smart.
haven't...
Okay, don't wait, I'll take you doing
Okay,
this.
let's not defend
the
the
goblins here. Okay?
If you haven't guessed already, we are reviewing Volume 1 of Goblin Slayer in what's kind of a Volume 1 redone, but not technically, because although we've done not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 now episodes on Goblin Slayer, none of them exist in video form, and in none of them did we talk about the first volume, which is kind of what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about today, because we consumed, I think, because of our dear friend Cody here, we consumed a lot of Goblin Slayer.
And
Yeah.
no one has access to any of that dialogue. I mean, they do, but no one's going to listen to those. So.
They might.
They might,
The real
but it was
gobheads will.
Yeah. The real Slayers will.
Slayers will.
And look, I consumed this the same way I think you guys consumed it, which was by watching the entirety of the first season first, and then reading year 1, and then watching the movie.
Yeah, and I haven't read this since we last did a thing, which was like, last year. So, like, coming back after reading classic mangas and all these other stories, I gotta say, I still deeply enjoy this series.
Now, look, if you're a fan of the podcast or a listener and you've listened to the audio episodes, which are still up, I encourage you to go listen to some of them, not all of them.
All of them.
Year 1 is a pretty good episode.
Year 1 was a great episode. If you're a fan of the podcast in any capacity, then you know I'm on record saying that this is a series that I feel
that you would die
absolutely.
for.
You definitely didn't edit something Megan said out of context to aid in your little agenda.
Oh, that was funny. I think that's still on our Instagram.
Yeah, it is.
Which one is that? Oh, yeah.
When Cody's he's in too deep, right? He's explaining Goblin Slayer, and then Megan says, "Imagine caring," though. I think is what she said.
I was talking about Priestess. Because you said you could play as a character.
You can play as Priestess. She said, "Imagine wanting to," and you're like, "That's it." She said something negative about Goblin Slayer, and I'm gonna do the thing.
Yeah, and I clipped it, and I slow-mo'd it, and I repeated it,
and it was like, I know you were so excited you didn't even realize the context.
I won't take back what I said about Priestess because she's not the one
I don't contour.
She's my least favorite of the bunch.
But we haven't actually talked about the manga, which is better than the anime.
Okay, here's my thing. Goblin Slayer, if you don't know, it's about a guy who slays goblins based on a light novel with many spin-offs. Year 1.
Josh has an issue with this, but an anime manga being called Hunter x Hunter, he's not like, okay, so they're hunters. It's a very selective issue you have.
You're coming in so hot.
As the synopsis, Goblin Slayer, he kicks ass and kills goblins. That's all you need to know. I mean, that's it right there. If you're going into the series wondering what it's about, there it is.
And it's got a very infamous scene from the anime and the manga too, with goblins doing some goblin-y things.
And yes, if you can't even stomach the anime, you don't need to read the manga.
Yeah,
I'll just say that right now.
As much as I like this series, I have no issue if someone's issue is that scene and that stuff. I have no issue with them being, I'm never gonna read this.
Which is that was the main argument when the anime first came out. People are like, don't watch this if you have an issue with that, which I totally it makes sense, but it's way more tolerable, if at all, in the anime versus the manga. I was like, holy shit.
I don't remember exactly how it was portrayed in the anime, but it
not
was
as
oddly,
gruesome.
A little, it seemed weird because the anime does add a little extra thing to it to make it a little by making it not as bad, it kind of makes it
which is
worse.
Crazy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Now, you actually kind of, made me come around on sort of that scene in general, and I know that sounds bad, but it sounds very
It
bad.
sounds bad for both of us. That I was like, no.
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning for sure. It sounds
Honestly,
bad. But your point was that, like, in a lot of media, we see villains that aren't really doing evil, disgusting things. They're just sort of these caricatures of villains as opposed to, like, real world shitty people.
Or they just talk about it, and then it's just like, that makes sense that they would do that, and we don't have to see it, but then we do see it in Goblin Slayer, and not just once. We'll just say that it is a reoccurring theme. So, if you can't do it, you don't have to.
Yes.
In D&D lore, this is a thing goblins do. So, like, this is a thing that everyone knows is a part of this, like, this whole world. And this series is, like, addressing the fact that, like, you live in a world where this can happen to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah, the goblins, if you don't know,
not good.
not good.
No,
for sure, but it is like, and things get away. Like South Park did an episode where they just referenced all the, like, famous rape scenes in movies, and, like, it's not like those got, like, those are seen as, like, artistic.
Well, I mean, the times have definitely changed. Woody Allen's
about
not making
Game of
movies
Thrones?
anymore.
And Polanski is still making movies, by the way, and he's winning awards. So, like, it's not.
And that's another thing you brought to my attention too. I think in our previous episode was the Game of Thrones point, which is that people are getting R-worded in Game of Thrones, all the time. Sansa, Daenerys,
And there's not an outcry about the degeneracy of live action TV shows.
They got a little pushback for the Sansa one.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
You don't watch anything.
Except for Goblin Slayer.
I mean,
but
it's
more of like it's like human on human stuff,
Sure.
but it's like an actual monster. So it's like, okay, that's literally what they do.
Yeah, and it's portrayed in just such a very, intense way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I read the manga I hadn't read it. I just watched the anime, and I was like, oh, this is way worse.
Yeah,
in
and the light
manga.
novel is way worse than that. The manga is a light version of what the novel describes, and the anime is the lightest version of them all.
And there's another scene, almost the same scene with a different character in year one, and I thought that was worse than this one, for sure.
Year one, I think it's better for characters, but it is much more explicit.
Okay, let me kind of just let me walk back some stuff, or not necessarily walk back some stuff yet. Let me just explain some stuff if you're watching and listening. My problems were that everybody's just given the name of the thing that they do. Okay, a little nitpick. Okay, nothing major, but
for sure,
the guy slaves goblins. He's called Goblin Slayer. The girl who works at the guild is called Guild Girl.
The girl with the massive tits is called Cow
Tit Girl.
Oh,
Cow
Tit Girl.
Yeah.
There's no cows on her ranch.
That's the lady with birds. There's a bird called a tit bird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, for any of our,
any of our avian listeners out there.
That was one of my problems. And I felt like when I watched the anime, at least, that I didn't really get a lot out of it. But I will say this. If anybody has a friend that doesn't want to read or give a series that they've recommended a try, here me give you some tips. Berate them. Maybe start a podcast with them.
Oh, yeah.
And ask them to read it over and over and over.
And let's be clear.
Yeah.
I do that, and I had to do that for Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man was not as hard of a sell.
But did I not berate you into listening to it or reading it?
Kind of, sorta.
Not as hard as Goblin Slayer.
Not as hard as Goblin Slayer.
Not as hard as Goblin
I would have
Slayer.
kept going.
You are a little bit like a goblin, dude.
Okay,
but
yeah. So there's the discussion we've had 4 other times in the audio, but there for YouTube, there it is.
Right. And that was a joke. But also,
good.
Yeah, I got your back, dude.
Thanks, bro.
But I will say this: I have never consumed this story in the form of a manga, and I will say this on wax, on record: I enjoyed this more than any other way I've seen Goblin Slayer.
I thought you were gonna say any other thing. That
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
can't
whoa,
possibly-
whoa,
No.
whoa,
I was-
whoa,
I was-
calm
I'm not
down,
tripping that
guys,
hard.
calm
Okay.
down.
I was hoping
What did you take?
I'm tripping.
that reading Berserk would have made you appreciate it a little more too.
I don't know if it made me appreciate it more. Definitely some similarities were made a little bit more clear. Some obvious sort of connections were made more clear. There's a panel in the manga, a full page where he's in this armor that's not his normal armor, and it's sort of drawn differently, and it's sort of more jagged, and that's just an homage to what I feel
and
like is
what,
Guts' armor.
What sucks is the manga has some like very like epic pages where the art style where like there is a scene of Goblin Slayer. They that's like a recurring thing where they show like once he's like lost it, the art style takes that direction a lot, and that's like part of it. And the anime just doesn't do that at all.
They do some like
They do,
clips
like,
of him when he's mad, and this is like and this is red eye and stuff, but not like where he's like actually fighting when it's like
They make him
Dark.
look like a monster for like when shots where it shows that he's like he's in deep. He's lost his mind.
Yeah, I do want to ask Megan though, because Megan is in the same boat as I am.
Mhm.
You've read it now, or experienced it in different ways now
Mhm.
many times.
Mhm.
So this time, reading the first volume, how was it for you? Because it was a different experience for me, and I'll talk about the details and what was different and what changed. But how was it for you?
To see, like, to your point too, where it's obviously it's different. There's scenes that were kind of portrayed differently in the anime versus the manga. The manga is way more grittier than the anime. But at the same time, it's like I've seen this already. Like, I was reading it and I was like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. And I wasn't like, whoa, oh my god, it changed everything. Oh, my mind is blown. Like, I didn't have that like feeling.
But
not in a bad way.
There
Yeah.
is
Am I
only like
wrong, though?
one scene in the first volume that they changed in the anime explicitly that changed the entire context of what a character was saying.
Maybe what was that? What was that? Is that like
It's
far
when-
into the story, or
It's near the end, yeah.
because I could be completely wrong, and maybe it's just been a while since I have seen the anime. But for me, a lot of it, it felt like a lot of it was not like changed in major ways, but it did feel like a lot of little things were either changed or added
Mhm.
or there that weren't there in the anime. And I think those little things ultimately added up to a better experience for me.
Well, my experience with like reading year one and Goblin Slayer, like I way much prefer year one than I do the first volume of Goblin Slayer. Maybe even the whole, I don't know. What I've read of year one, I liked way more than I did Goblin Slayer anime, movie, manga, first volume. Like, I just liked it so much more. Like, the way they introduce the characters and you get more backstory and like, it's just so much better for me, I think.
Yeah, I'll agree. Year one, like Cody said, had more character. I think there was more, thought put into the actual character moments.
Mhm.
But in this first volume of Goblin Slayer, I really did feel like Priestess was a lot less annoying. I
You couldn't hear her
The
voice.
voice is probably
Maybe.
a big part of that.
maybe I now like understood her intention. I understood her, relationship with Goblin Slayer. She like looks up to this guy. She is, intimidated by him, but only because she kind of wants to impress him in a way. Like, she just wants to do a good job. Like, she's eager to learn and she wants to help. And she's not this, like, I guess the anime made me feel like she was this really scared, helpless
girl that was
And
just following him because
Yeah.
she got saved once.
It's
by
more
him.
that she's nervous to do a good job.
Yeah.
That she is like scared.
Yeah.
And there is a little thing that just like gets lost, and you probably can't explain it in the light novel. It's like narrated, so it helps a lot with explaining that. Like, when he says yes, he says it like this, and you can't get that in a manga. There's a part where someone says like, "You're going alone? Are you insane?" And Goblin Slayer just says yes, and in the novel they say like, no one was sure which question he was answering. It was impossible to tell. Because it does imply more that he is aware how damaged he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that little line like adds a lot of depth to his character.
Yeah.
And it's just gone.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to say. The manga made it feel like, for me, Goblin Slayer in the anime, to me, I think I even said it in the previous episode, was just too one note. It was all like, we get it. Nothing was really happening. It was just like rinse and repeat. This guy is out to do this thing. It's in his name and he does it. And that's just what it was over and over and over again, with sometimes more interesting characters and sometimes not. That's my experience with the anime. But from reading the manga, he seemed a little less cold, more calculated. And
that was a solid use of words there.
Thanks, dude. Thank you, guys.
On the 4th time around, huh?
Writing
took
that,
5 times.
secretly planting seeds.
Yeah.
Like maybe we should do another episode.
No, he's like writing down. He's like, I'll say it next time.
Yeah.
I'll say it
No,
next
the
time.
first- his eyes roll.
Yeah, I'll say that next time.
No, the first 2 episodes I had the word cold, and I was like, it's not
How
done.
can I use this
Yeah.
in my speech dialect?
Yeah, and then it was a question mark after it. And I just
You're
kept
like, is it
staring
his
at
helmet? Is it his
Yeah.
it's his heart?
I'm like, no, it's not
heart.
it. And then I did get it.
Yeah.
No, dude, but and he's calculated in the anime too. But like,
No,
this
because that's what
made it.
rereading it. I love the way the fight scenes work.
Yeah.
Because it is about, it's very calculated fight scenes, because he is like, I need to attack here and do this. If this goes wrong, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And because what I like about Goblin Slayer is, and they show more of what they do in the novel, where he's explicitly supposed to have been an NPC in this world, essentially. There's nothing special about him.
I like the fact that, you know, you have characters that are like, they go in the dungeon and they have things planned and then things don't end up going to plan, so they have to go to plan B, plan A. Like, he has like A, B, C, D,
Yeah.
E, and he knows exactly, he's done this fucking 1,000 times. He knows exactly what to do. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's 4. I have 3 more. Like, I just love that about him, where
Yeah.
he just fucking gets it done.
Yeah. He's the garbage man, dude.
Yeah.
It's
He's
not
the
a glorious.
garbage
It's not a
man,
glorious
bro.
job, but someone's got to do it.
What
dude.
did you mean by calculate? Did you mean the way he fights or the way he thinks? Or?
So the fight scenes and how he went about defeating the goblins, and kind of both points. You guys made both points, like how he fought, and then also how he just had every contingency sort of like planned.
Mhm.
Like nothing could really surprise him, and when something did surprise him, it only took him a couple minutes to like, or a couple seconds to even like figure out, okay, I've been here before. This is what we can do to make it happen.
Yeah, the
you know?
inspiration for this character is obviously a little bit of Guts, the Doom Slayer, and the Punisher, and like maybe a little bit of that's what the author described, like going in.
Yeah, I'll also say that I felt a lot more connected to the villagers who.
Oh, that was crazy. They cut
Yeah.
out some very
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
scenes with the
Yeah.
villagers and showing their relationship with Goblin Slayer.
Which really solidified like who he was to these people and how important the work he's doing is, and it gave context and stakes to these things.
It totally did, and in the anime, it's just kind of like whatever. He likes fucking killing
Yeah.
goblins, and it's like, bro, do you? It's
Yeah.
not
No,
like
for real.
he's actually like doing something. It's not just like, okay, killing a dragon that was just sitting up on a fucking hilltop, minding its own fucking business and stealing shit every once in a while. Like, no, these fucking guys are fucking causing some mayhem.
Yeah, there's a scene, and was it cut out of the anime where there's 2 really significant village scenes from the manga, but I don't know if they were both in the anime or neither, or one was, but one where the guy goes to the guild and he's like begging them to send somebody to help them. And she's like, well, I mean, what do you have? What do you got? And he like has pretty much nothing. And she's like, I mean, well, post it on the board. We'll see what happens, kind of thing. And then there's another scene later on where someone just sees the smoke and they both look, and there's like a little girl crying. Or no, the mom is crying and the little girl's like, what's wrong, mom? Or what is that? And she's like, we've been saved, or like, we're free now, or something. Like this like really cool small moment that like now when I see Priestess and Goblin Slayer fighting, they're fighting for something. They're fighting to protect something. It felt like before they were just, like you said,
they were on a mission.
yeah,
that
the
they got
NPC
paid
thing
for.
felt more real in the anime and less like that in the manga, I guess.
So I understand we've gone through this, but we should probably treat this like a volume 1. So what is Goblin Slayer?
So I mean, the way it's the light novel. You listened to the light novel or read it, however you want to say it.
I listened to it. You enter
yeah.
a text into text to speech, and you don't got to read anything anymore.
It's a very genius way to go about reading something, but I can also imagine pretty annoying.
I could feel like
it is both.
I would like it would just just go one ear and out the other. I have to like physically see the words to like. I just couldn't listen to something and be like, okay, I remember everything that. Like, no, I don't think I.
Yeah,
can.
well,
audiobooks and stuff. It is like a skill you have to like.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool. I think you meant it sincerely, and she took it as a diss.
It's like a skill that you have to.
It's a skill that you
obtain.
don't have. Is what you sounded like.
it's a skill you have to work on, is what
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
And when
Another
I
jab to the heart again.
I said
Huh?
you, I had to do that. Like,
Yeah, I don't care. This is a small little tangent, but I don't care what people say about listening to audiobooks. It's the same kind of brain power. It takes the same kind of brain power to consume and comprehend an audiobook that it does to like actually read a physical text. It's not, you can't just pop in headphones and go like, here, I'm reading a book right now. You have to pay attention.
I like reading and listening.
I've heard
Oh.
that's a thing people do. And that's
Yeah.
like, that's supposed to like super immerse you.
I like
You're
it because it's
out of
like
your
the
mind.
voices. I am a loco.
See, yeah, I don't like the idea of like having my thoughts get like merged like that. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if we've said this on the podcast, and we will get right back to Goblin Slayer, I promise. But Cody does this weird thing where when he's listening to audiobooks to help him feel like he's immersed or he understands the characters, he will try to, if there's an expression that they're making or some sort of pose, but he tries to embody them and he'll make the faces in real life that
At
they're
work,
making in the
where
book.
I listen to audiobooks.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes with manga. Like I'll read a
Really?
manga aloud, like in the voices.
I can.
No. See, that's
we
like
can-
more normal.
We can play a game with that real quick, or we could do that at the end. We should probably do that at the end.
We could do it at the end because I'm curious as to how this game will go. But Cody will actually, you're reading it aloud. Cody will just like if they say like, and he smiled ear to ear, Cody will just be like listening and go like, just smile.
If it's a facial expression I'm not familiar with, I'll do that.
Right.
That's why he
As-
likes Goblin Slayer so much because he's just
Yeah.
Honestly, yes. As a kid, I had to look up facial expressions and stuff so people would stop being weirded out by me.
Sheldon.
So some. That's why I don't like the comparison.
okay.
Is it's true.
Okay, we have to get back. We
Yeah.
have to get back.
Yeah, we have to get back.
We have to get back to the Goblin slaying.
Yeah, so the light novel got adapted into a manga, and then the manga into an anime, and then the anime, and turned into movies. But how it starts basically is that we're introduced to this group of adventurers, and again,
The
I'm
classic-
gonna.
The guy in that group is clearly supposed to look like most protagonists in a
Yeah.
fantasy.
I'm going to fight for my honor and kill these goblins. It's going to be so easy because they're so weak.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, you get them. Like, we
And
got this.
He conveniently only wants girls in his group.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Conveniently.
Yeah, didn't even think about that. But we're made to believe at least that these characters might be our,
Protagonists.
our
That-
main group.
That's the big first turn that this series does. It's so everyone knows that scene now, so like the
Yeah.
impact is definitely lost. But that's what it goes in with, like, here's what you would have in a fantasy story.
Which I love
Yeah.
about a good, manga that just you're going one direction, then it's like, oh, left field,
Yeah.
which I really liked about the series. And when I first watched the anime, I didn't really get anything spoiled for me when I watched it. I heard crazy things about it, but I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect. And then I watched it, I was like, oh, this is what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
So,
And in the-
spoiler mark yet?
I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah, well, I guess. Oh man, I mean, for the joke, we can have it right before that scene happens. But
Here we are again,
Yeah.
huh?
But yeah,
Here we
again.
are fucking again.
Yeah.
I'm reading this scene again, and I'm like, again, I've seen this scene a million times.
Yeah.
in the manga, those characters do get more exploration. To sell more that these are main characters is they all get flashbacks and stuff to show that, like,
I did think that they left that out of the anime.
They definitely
right?
did.
Yeah, they did. It just put him in there.
the fighter guy, he gets a flashback showing that he grew up listening to like tales of his father, and they're like,
Yeah.
they're talking about like, and then we slayed the monster. He's like, that's what I'm gonna be when I grow up. You see that the fighter girl, she learned martial arts from her father,
Yeah.
and she was like, I'm gonna use this to help people. And the mage was like top of her class,
yeah.
and the fact that she can cast 2 spells is like, oh, that's so, like, at that age, you're a protege, you have a bright future ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the manga, I don't mean to be that guy, but I mean, we do have a manga podcast, but the manga
Each
was
week.
just each week. The
Each
manga
week.
was just the
So
manga
happy
was
about
just
that.
so much better. It set everything up so much better. I felt like it was even paced better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We get these flashbacks with these characters, like Cody said, the fighter, the swordsman, the mage, and then Priestess kind of comes to join. She's given the rundown. We're given a lot of exposition.
You're given the, all right, this is fantasy world where RPG rules exist, and there's stats you write down.
And there's
Mhm.
ranks, platinum, silver, gold. I'm forgetting some. Porcelain is one, I think, right?
It was porcelain, obsidian,
Oh, right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not important. But yeah,
What do you got on your hand there?
That's calluses.
Is that one of the
Yikes.
stones?
Is that one of the ranks? You've been climbing the ranks, huh?
Ah,
yeah.
good
That does
one.
work if you
Thanks.
have any knowledge of what that implies.
Yeah. Cody rock climbs.
I rock climb.
Yeah.
Um,
But we're given those rules, those sort of levels, and then they go out on this journey. They're to kill goblins, and they're warned. They are kind of warned, right? Like, hey, shouldn't you guys?
Because
Guild Girl, yeah.
she's kind of like, you're not allowed to discourage people from taking on quests.
Because it should be known too that it's a problem that nobody wants to fight goblins are seen as these very bottom of the totem pole, sort of just like ants. Like,
You
don't
fight
even
those
worry
when you
about 'em.
start, and then you go on to fight dragons and stuff. But everyone you have to do this when you start to get the money, because it pays very little. It's not really worth the time.
There's no real glory
And
in
she
it.
already knows of
Goblin
the
Slayer.
Goblin Slayer,
Mhm.
so she's just like, you guys don't have to take. We
Yeah.
already got a guy on
Yeah,
the way.
yeah,
you
we
know?
got a guy.
Yeah, we got a guy for this stuff.
Yeah.
But she goes, go ahead, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like good practice, I guess, for people that just want to like level up and get it out of the way. Just be like, I killed a cave of goblins, and now I'm going up to the next people, and the next,
Yeah.
Which that gets a little bit more exploration in the manga too later. Where just the fact that like because the Guild Girl does go like, maybe you could wait a bit, or maybe you could fight rats or something.
Yeah. Because even the rats.
I mean, I can only imagine what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a little scene like in the next volume or whatever that shows that like Goblin Slayer like they talk about like, well, who went to go do that, and if he does determine that that's like a very like unprepared party, he will specifically go on those ones.
Or he just does it because
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I already see someone's doing that. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
and check it out.
Yeah, he's very.
Because most people just, I don't know, they can't seem to get out of the
Yeah,
goblin
it seems like
mess.
for nobody taking them serious.
A lot of people die.
Yeah, they're murdering and R-wording everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that is a part of the greater issue in the world. And again, this has been talked in the audio, but like, I mean, there are busloads of children being shot up, and no one's doing anything about that. So,
I mean, nobody wants that to happen, though.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, I think people are trying to do stuff, but it's just like hard,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just so people are like, it's not the same.
Not the same
So it's
side
not,
of the blade.
Yeah, right. It's not the same. No one's happy about that happening, and people are trying to put things into motion to prevent those things from happening. It's not like people are just sitting back twiddling their thumbs like, damn, another
Just
one,
like this party did when they walked in
Definitely.
to the cave.
Oh wow,
and
that sucks.
thought that way they were prepared, and lo and behold.
Yeah, so yeah, they go to the cave, they don't know anything.
No.
And a little thing I like is that Priestess on her own would have, she had the instinct to be prepared for that. Because she was about to cast a light spell that would have revealed there was a hidden entrance. And then the wizard like, come on, we gotta go. But like instinctually, Priestess was like, I don't know if we should be entering here. Let me cast a light. Like, there's a little show that like she had a lot of potential.
Yeah, and I like the D&D rules of her kind of power too, that she can only use X amount of spells per day. And so I think it forces her to be more strategic about when she uses them too. And so it has to matter when she uses it.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, it would have saved them probably from spoiler alert. But yeah, so then we're given those flashbacks. They see something at the entrance that they're not really sure of. It's sort of a skull. It looks like it just looks like it's a skull with like a sign on it, and they just
A totem.
a totem. And they're a little distracted by it, but they wander deeper into the cave, thinking again that they can handle these goblins, that they're going to be no problem at all. And that's when they realize that there was another passage. I don't even think they realized that.
No, they find out because one of them gets hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of them gets hit, and then the guy with the freaking cocky sword guy
Mm-hmm.
is like, hey, don't worry, gals, I got this. And then immediately goes to swing at one of the goblins, but realizes his sword's way too long to be of any use in this, cave, this tight cave,
Yeah.
which sounds weird.
Try to be Guts.
Right, he tried to be Guts.
Yeah,
and his guts got out.
His
Yeah.
guts got out
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
quick.
that was the better way to go about that.
What were you gonna say?
We know how that could have been ended.
Right, and his guts got rearranged.
Oh.
Oh my God! I didn't mean
They
it like
did.
that.
No, you said it though.
You're right.
Anyway.
right. I didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean? It's a callback to a joke Megan made on the Berserk episode. Great
But mine was
episode.
actually funny and well placed.
Ooh.
Mine just ended up being darker than I meant it to be because of what happens later. Right. I meant him. I wasn't talking about the rest of the party.
Speaking of.
Speaking of the rest of the party, yeah. So I mean, this is common knowledge. Chapter 1 that they all start getting got.
Getting horribly got. And it
Yeah.
is very graphic.
It is
so,
much more graphic in the manga where you see the boy get ripped apart.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the anime, you see him getting beaten with clubs off screen.
Yeah.
But in the you see his that they tear his arms off and start eating him.
Yeah.
Now in the light novel, they do go into like more of like that they're eating him while he's still alive.
Oh my God. And
yeah,
the
they're
worst,
just dark creatures.
very dark. Never seen them portrayed so dark in my life.
No.
And the worst of the worst begins to happen.
Yeah. It's just like I said, I've seen and fucking watched this shit so many times. I'm like, here it is again.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
reliving this horrible
Yeah.
this horrible display of images.
Yeah, it's something you
These
never
poor
truly-
women.
Yeah.
No.
You're never numb to it.
No,
Every time you're
no.
like, oh,
No,
okay.
no. And it's bad. It's bad.
It's bad.
Well,
Cover
that's why-
your ears if you know. If,
As much as I love this series, there are people that I'm like, I'm never recommending this to them.
No.
And I would
yeah.
never be like, so if someone's like, I'm not comfortable reading that kind of stuff, I wouldn't be like, oh, what are you fucking?
Yeah, what do you do? You're not. It's too dark for you. You fucking no. It's like, bro, you don't have to take it in.
Yeah,
You don't have to read it at all if you don't want to. But yeah, it's pretty gruesome, pretty graphic stuff.
very gruesome, very graphic,
Yeah.
and cover your ears if this kind of
You've already we talked about it.
yeah.
for
But
the
I'm
first
Everyone
3
already
minutes.
knows what
We
happened.
already know what you
You're
were
right.
talking about.
You're right. But I'm just looking out for that one person.
Let's
who's
give
maybe
let's give an R
They
an
know-
R-word warning.
You
Yeah.
guys know what we're talking about. If you know anything about Goblin Slayer, you know exactly what we're talking
just do a
about.
spoiler warning for the sake of it.
for the R word.
Um.
No, not don't, but just say
Alright.
some version of.
Fuck. I'll just do goblins.
Holy spoiler.
spoiler time.
There we go. Yeah,
okay,
we don't.
yeah,
We
yeah.
don't really have to.
No,
yeah,
I
there's not
really-
really spoilers in this.
Yeah, I
manga.
couldn't
Yeah,
really.
no real spoilers. Don't worry
couldn't
about
really
that. That
find
was
the
just
words.
so that we stay on brand.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're gonna be like, "Did he-"
What we're
Yeah.
talking about.
But yeah, so what proceeds to happen, and I'm going to be very delicate here because it is not delicate in the manga, is that the goblins start to rip
Force themselves onto the
I
girls
was
in the
gonna ease
party.
into it. You went right on. You
That's
went right to it.
What were you
yeah.
gonna say?
I was gonna say that they started ripping her clothes off. I was
Oh,
gonna go that
you were
route.
going like, just go straight to it. You don't need to keep talking.
Right, you're right,
But yeah,
you're right,
yeah,
you're
they
right.
force
No,
themselves onto
they're-
these girls, and that's what they do because that's how they like make more goblins.
I saw an abridged version of Goblin Slayer by Grimjack.
Mhm.
And the way they handle that scene is obviously they cut it out, and Priestess runs over and she goes, "I'm sorry they took your clothes and did nothing else."
Oh my god, dude! And
Yeah,
I
like,
would honestly like if you have a problem with that, just watch the abridged version by Grimjack. Like it basically is the same, but you get to skip scenes if you don't like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
And look, hey, we're
And they do have some really solid character moments for Goblin Slayer in that abridged. It's always weird when a parody does like interesting things with
huh?
it.
I'm not a real fan of abridged.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Okay.
We know.
Yeah, you
Anyway.
burned
You
that.
don't like
abridged.
parodies. You don't like anything
Oh.
funny. You don't like
Not
anything, light of heart.
I'm Joshy Wholesomes.
Light of heart, heavy of stomach. That's Josh.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. And what are you then?
Swole.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so all these things are happening.
Right.
All these things are happening to the girls in the party, and Priestess is just like frozen solid, like oh holy shit.
Oh, holy shit.
She goes, "Oh,
I saw
holy
the spark in your eyes. As you were saying.
Oh holy shit!
Yeah.
She's literally there, and then she pisses her pants, which I was like, did she piss? And then I was like, oh yeah, she
Oh,
did.
she
That's
had
in
to
the
go back
anime
to make
too.
sure.
She pisses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she pisses
Oh,
for
yeah, she
sure.
pisses.
Who wouldn't? I mean, shit. I might just shit my pants after seeing that shit. I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
come
she did
on,
that too.
honestly,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
might
yeah,
have.
yeah.
And then, dun da da da.
Yeah.
Who comes to save the day a little bit too late, to be honest? Goblin Slayer.
Way too late.
Way too late. I mean,
Yeah.
he had I don't know what he was doing.
He's not there to save people. He's there to slay goblins.
Yeah, he's here to slay
He's
goblins.
there to
and
do both.
when he can,
one
he
more than
can.
the
When
other.
he doesn't, he
Yeah.
doesn't, you know.
When he can save somebody, he will. But there's no like, when I can slay goblins, they're getting slayed. It's not
Well,
like he doesn't have that same mentality for saving people.
Yeah,
like,
no. Wait, I mean, he saw like
he doesn't want
her.
people to die.
Yeah, no, like he saw, like if he sees like a girl on the ground and she's like barely living, he's not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna save you.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
No, he won't be like, I gotta go. He will then mercy kill her.
He
Hey,
will
that's
mercy kill her.
better, man.
Yeah, he will be like, he will say to himself, if saving you means one goblin gets away, you're dying.
And you're dying either way. And all you're doing is being poisoned to death because they dip their knives in their piss and shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. And look, hey, I just really have
God,
to say
why
this.
are they so horrible? Like they're so horrible.
This is what
Yeah.
it is like after reading this, I would like try to play Doom, and I am just like, I have no reason to fight these demons. Because like even though these like in Doom you fight demons from hell.
Yeah,
They kill people, yeah, but like you rarely see them do anything.
it is.
So I just see them like teleport in and I'm like, all right, well I guess you suck, so I'll shoot you, but I
Yeah.
don't see horrible things
You
happen.
you just kill them because they're gonna kill you. It's not like, oh, I want to kill you because you do horrible shit to other people.
Yeah, it is like on a fundamental level, the world is better if you're dead,
Yeah.
and for the viewer to be like, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, you want these goblins. You don't want them to see any mercy.
No,
you
and
want
that's
them to be.
That's why Goblin Slayer. That's why it's such a great introduction to like a villain, because they're like the ultimate villain in the whole like
Which I do
manga.
have, which I do have a little bit. This is my nitpick. I enjoy reading this a lot more than I enjoyed watching the anime, but I do have a little nitpick with the manga. And this is kind of jumping a little bit ahead, but it's just with a scene that they decided that I don't know if it's in the light novel or not, and maybe they just added it into the manga. I'm not sure, but it's this little scene where they turn like the goblins into the Three Stooges for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and
they do comedy bits, and also they give the goblins like subtitles, like you can hear what they say, and the goblins do because that is also their perception is like, oh, they can be like goofy little monsters, and they do slapstick comedy, and it is a pretty big contrast.
Well, yeah, I'm like, don't make me empathize with these
Oh
monsters.
no, never.
you know?
even the babies.
Even the because you got fucking Larry
Brah,
and Curly
brah,
and Mo
brah,
over there.
brah.
Yeah, that was
If I can just brah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that is how goblins reproduce. And that's a thing
Which
on
is
how
crazy.
like you just
What?
and usually in fantasy stories you don't see female versions of monsters and goblins. So this
does
is
that
sort
mean
of
that
the
every goblin is a half human.
or elf or
Oh right, yeah.
yeah. It is. They are like they're not. They are like parasites, and that's how they reproduce.
They are they're the worst of the worst things
Yeah, they
in
really
the world. But Goblin Slayer comes in to fucking save the day.
Yeah.
He's killing them. Priestess is like, "What the fuck do I do?" And he's like, "Okay, like, come with me, I guess."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
the highlight for me is the fight scenes. I really like seeing a character who like because they show like he gets stabbed and like that was on the heavy part, and that is the most time you will see him tank damage is that shot when a goblin like runs at him
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and stabs him once. Usually he does not handle getting hit well at all.
Yeah, and then he tells Priestess to cover herself in their blood so that they don't smell them coming. He has a whole he figures out, he assesses kind of what her abilities are very quickly, asks her what she can do.
What
And
can you
then
do? How many
uses-
times can you do it?
Yeah.
And then he's like, he just figures out, well, we can use your light to blind them.
Yeah, but I need to do it. It needs to be done at this exact time. He booby traps the cave. He's done this a million times, and
So
we're
many
very
times, yeah.
we're shown that because of just what he continues to do throughout this scene.
Mhm.
And he goes deeper in, sees I think there's a goblin mage, right, or a
Mhm.
goblin shaman.
Yep.
There we go,
Shaman.
a shaman. And
Shaw, man.
you're right. Someone had to do it, I guess.
Someone had to.
Yeah, right. Next time, just see what happens if no one does.
Yeah, Cody. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
And then there's
Next time.
there's like a huge goblin too, right? There's like a
champion.
right, and he goes in there, lures him out, booby traps the whole thing. Holy night, yada yada yada. And I don't mean to yada 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 it. It's just that we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
figured it would be like this way, but I mean, honestly, that's all I need to know: more action, more killing goblins, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then they get out of the cave.
After he finds their one, it shows that he's like the shamans will fake their death, so he's like ready for that. And then he goes into the nest and he's prepared to club them to death. And then Priestess asks, like, well, she has a problem with just killing babies.
No.
Yeah, obviously. And she's like, what if there were good ones? And he says, like, there might be.
But
I
don't care.
The only good ones are the ones that don't come out of their cave.
Correct me if I'm wrong, too, but in the anime, I think he said something along the lines of, and it's translation maybe it got lost, but in the anime he said, like, there are no good goblins. And then in the manga he said, there might be. But do you want to find out kind of thing? Like,
do you want to take that chance of letting it grow up? And
the lines are so blurred for me, but like either he goes, there might be, and then he goes, but in the manga he addresses more the fact that like you could be right, but it's not worth the risk.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure in the anime he's like, they don't exist. And it, like
nope.
Yeah.
Nah, dog.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen.
He gives her a nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
And there are some points that I do want to like linger on for a little bit, because there are some things that I think thought were really interesting compared to the anime. But after that, they go. Goblin Slayer kills the babies. They go back to the guild,
and you get what I think is a really important scene for this character that got altered a lot in the anime, significantly altered in the anime to change the context of it.
Guild Girl,
Witch Hat.
Witch Hat? Wait,
Yes,
Guild Girl or
this
which
hat.
one? Or the witch lady?
They're talking about goblin. They talk about how like what happened here isn't particularly rare or unique. They live in the frontier of this like kingdom. You know, this isn't an issue for city people.
Mm-hmm.
This is an issue for people out in the front.
The common folk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like
out in the sticks.
Yes.
the military won't do anything about this because it's so low on their list. It's they're not going to send the military to deal with what is essentially like a gang issue.
And there's so many of them. They're all over the place. These little
because it only
nooks and
takes one.
crannies of hell.
Yeah, and they just pop up.
They just pop up and they keep happening, and they're like rats. It's like, okay, if there's so many of them, we're just gonna let someone else take care of it. And if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah. And this is where we're kind of led into kind of how all the other adventurers view Goblin Slayer. And there's a warrior type guy who has this very pristine armor and
a Chad, if you will.
A Chad.
Oh yeah, he is a Chad.
Total
He is
Chad.
for sure a Chad. And they kind of look down on him a little bit. They kind of not resent him, but they kind of they don't really
Take him seriously.
He's a weirdo who decided to keep fighting goblins.
Yeah.
And like they
never move up.
And they view him as like cheating because he's silver ranked, even though he's only fought goblins. So there are people like, I fought a dragon to get this rank.
Yeah, and they don't like that they're in the same rank as him.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
But Guild Girl,
Guild Girl,
she loves him. She
Yeah.
loves him. She's like, here, have a cup of tea. How was your day?
Yeah,
And
she
he's
loves
drinking
him.
the tea through his helmet. It was so cute.
Yeah,
Like, how does he do that?
I wrote-
He's just spilling it all over
Yeah.
his face, and he's burning his mouth.
I wrote down.
How does he do that?
The little chibi version of him too, Gob Slay song. Yeah. At the end of the first volume.
But yeah, she loves him, and she's like, she knows he's doing good. I mean, everyone else sees him as a laughing stock. She's like, I understand what they are capable of, and let me tip my hat to you.
Well,
sir.
and I think why too is because she deals with the people coming in making the requests for the goblins to be exterminated,
and also the people that die.
Well, yeah,
that don't come back.
Well,
from
she has
those.
to like kind of in a way. She's like sending people to their deaths a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Inadvertently.
It's a little dark.
And I
It's a
think
little
like
dark.
And the implication, I get it, like maybe more as it goes on, but also like because she's not impressed by like the guy's like, yeah, I slayed an ogre, because it's like, wow, if you like, it feels like if you applied all your strength and power to help with this issue, it would probably be way down. So it's sort of like with all this strength, they're just pursuing glory, which is how, a D&D player works. Is like you start at the bottom and you view it as like, well, I always have to advance and go up.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I mean, that maybe has some parallels to life, too.
For
dude.
personal gain is
Yeah.
what they're doing. To make
People-
money,
Yeah.
to make Goblin Slayer's like, okay, I get paid to do this. Cool.
They're in it for the clout. dude.
Yeah. Clout chasers.
They're clout chasers.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. And this story is no more relevant. It's more relevant today than it's ever been.
And
I
they
think.
talk about the
It's hard for me
way
to say that.
the economy works is it's like, well, a merchant can pay a lot of money to hire protection from bandits, but villagers don't have a lot of money. So like like Goblin Slayer is also viewed as like low level because you don't make money off it.
Yeah.
Because you have to put up the payment yourself.
He's doing it for free, though. It's
I mean,
his
part of me thinks,
joy
yeah,
of
he
life.
would do it for free, except he wouldn't do it for free for one reason, and that reason is...
He has to pay rent, which is the reason no one can do
Yeah.
anything for free at the end of the day. Even Goblin Slayer
Yeah.
has to pay rent.
You're absolutely right.
Has
dude.
to pay for utilities. Huh.
And yeah, and even Goblin Slayer has someone that he's looking out for too. Someone waiting for him at home. Even
Yeah.
though it might not be that kind of relationship.
Yeah,
it kind of is that kind of
and
relationship.
I reading it again. She just seems so desperate.
Yeah,
A
but
little,
in this,
but I get
You get
I
like
get-
one more shot and like one more angle to show that like a little
her
bit.
waking up again. Yeah. I
Oh
love
yeah,
that
I wanted to
scene.
talk about that.
It happens
Um,
probably 3 times. I've seen it in the anime, year one also, and then
Yeah.
the fucking
so
manga
interesting
again.
that they don't choose to cut that out. huh?
No, that's a pivotal part in
Right.
the Goblin
Well,
Slayer
you see, it's a
lore.
statement on the
Oh, Mr.
on waking
Mr.
up in the new day.
Yeah, Mr.
and-
Fan Service over here, Cody.
Yeah, I don't like when they do fan service because actually
Yeah.
it just takes away from the story and like, why would you need that?
To be
Fucking-
clear,
thank you.
Sorry, my
dude.
hands are sweaty. Why,
I
why
don't
would
think
you need
I've
that?
said that
You've definitely
did
said that.
say
We'll
it,
get it on
dude.
record.
Yeah,
about
And-
Goblin Slayer.
not about Goblin
Not
Slayer, but you were making that
any
point
other
about undead
Dan,
unluck.
undead
you're saying-
unluck.
Yeah, I don't like. I was joking about liking that. So, like, yeah, I
No,
do
he's
think
not
that
getting
is
it. He's not getting it.
excessive.
He's not getting it. He's not
No,
getting it.
you,
He's not getting it.
you think it's excessive in Goblin Slayer?
Like in
too.
year one, where they're showing full like anatomy, I do think like that's too much.
It's
like,
fine,
I'm not-
whatever.
Yeah. Oh, did it take away from the story?
I mean, it like as a reader, having to be like, oh wow, okay.
But just every time they put it in the story,
Yeah.
every
And-
single
If you want to go into it,
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, sexuality is a part of that world. So yeah, I mean, it is.
Cody.
Because like
You're
reading,
fucking gross, dude.
like reading it, I'm sure maybe I'm the only one who got this impression. But like reading it, it did
Probably.
feel like instead of like it did the opposite of what fan service usually does, which is like reading. I'm like, did you just fart?
No, it's
Yes, you did.
It's the chair.
Yeah.
Where it's like where they're like where they're like sexualizing
Megan,
a character.
please stop
I
farting.
become like
Stop!
worried for them
Worried for them because they
Because of
showed
goblins.
them naked.
because of goblins. Yeah, so like it like I maybe I'm the only one who had that like.
I'm worried.
It's her being so like.
But yeah, I mean,
it's her being so innocent to think that nothing could happen to her when she's sleeping butt ass naked
I mean,
with
right.
her window open. She's like,
But-
"Oh, I've never experienced anything bad in my life."
I mean, but she lives with Goblin Slayer.
No,
so
I
it's like,
have
if
no-
there's a time to be naked, you know.
I mean, I'm not gonna knock her for that.
Okay.
But
I have no
Okay.
problem saying that
Your
when
list
she
of
when
husbands
she
is getting longer and weirder.
no, Goblin Slayer's always been on the list.
He's always been on. the list.
Yeah, we
always
talked
getting
about
in.
this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
especially when he takes his helmet off and you got to see it.
even with no, I prefer the helmet on.
I was gonna say yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the helmet
Looks more
on.
mechanical.
I have no
Yeah.
problem saying that
Yeah.
like when in the anime where she like she pops out of the window and there's recoil. I'm like, all right, that's a bit much.
Yeah, and look,
It's again.
yeah.
Well, no, you guys wanted to bring it up.
We did want to bring it up, but now
I didn't
they
know
don't
you
know we're
were so
talking
passionate about it.
So it's there's just a scene with Cowgirl, which is his childhood friend. He's living with, and she's very excited to see him, and she loves him, and it's like a brother sister type relationship, and she's just always naked when she wakes up from the morning, and we've just seen it probably 3 or 4 times now in every type
Yeah,
of
and
depiction.
if I
of
have to
the-
say-
of the show in the manga.
Yeah, if I have to say one more good thing about Cowgirl, or one good thing about her, well, 3 good things, because you know the 2 good things about her.
Oh my god.
The one good thing about her is that at least in the manga, she seemed more capable. she seemed like she
A little
actually
bit.
had shit to do.
A little bit, yeah. She's not just waiting for his ass to come home,
Yeah.
which I just didn't really mesh well with that.
Yeah. There's
it was-
even plenty of times where I think it's her uncle who she's living with, right?
Yeah.
Who's like, I can take the cart to town, or Goblin Slayer's like, I can help you, wheel this into town, and she's like, I got it. No, I'm good. I got it. Like, she just seems very, she doesn't seem like a damsel in distress.
Mhm.
Goblin Slayer's not protecting her because she can't protect herself. Maybe she can't, but she's also just not sitting around waiting for goblins to break in. She's doing stuff. She's
Yeah.
got her own life, and Goblin
Yeah.
Slayer just happens to be a part of it.
What I
Again-
wanted to talk about was like what happens before he goes back. They changed this in the anime where because they're talking about goblins. Like after they come back, everyone's talking about goblins and like what why would these monsters what would make you do something like that? And Goblin Slayer gives that speech he gives in the anime where it's more explicit that he's telling Priestess his origin.
Mm-hmm.
But in the manga, like where he's saying, like, imagine like they come into your home, say they take your sister and use them as a plaything, and then the whole thing is showing how like why he's so dedicated is like he saw all this happen and he started killing. He found out he was good at it, and then also he found out he enjoyed it. And,
yeah.
And you get a really nice page with really solid
Yeah.
art that the anime just didn't do.
Yeah, again, if I could go
And-
back in time, I would read the manga, and maybe I would have had a different opinion about the anime.
Something I really, it is like, oh, here's one page. But like as he's telling people this, and a lot of people are like, what's it? Like you just see one shot of Kaoru like looking over and like sweating
Mm-hmm.
because she knows all of this about him, and she knows that like this is a very like, oh no, he's talking about it. And you can
Yeah.
see like, oh, he is so broken.
Yeah, and she's kind of like, fuck, dude, if I was there for another day, that would have been me because
Yeah.
she left.
Yeah, and I do think that we get to see everything. It cuts to and we see a very small part of what happened as he's explaining it. But in year one, we get to see everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to know kind of more about that section, then read year one. I think year one is really good too, especially compared to Goblin Slayer. I actually now, having read both of the mangas of both, I think they're, maybe year one is only a little bit above Goblin Slayer.
I think year one is better in the beginning, and
Mhm.
Goblin Slayer gets better around where, basically it would be the plot after the anime. I think that's when it starts getting really good.
Yeah. And after they go to town, this is another cute moment, I think. We get to see sort of all of the people, specifically women, in Goblin Slayer's life and how they all view him and how they all sort of interact with him, and they're all different, right? Cowgirl's relationship with him, Guild Girl's relationship with him, and then Priestess's relationship with him. And we get to see them kind of all interact with him and then all interact with each other in a way.
Mhm.
And I just thought that was a really kind of cute moment. It stopped, it paused, it took a breath, and it just like let us see sort of the people he chose to surround himself with.
And then
Yeah.
my bae shows up.
Who's your best?
Oh yeah, because and this is part of the thing where
Who's your bae?
it's definitely it's enhanced by seeing that the villagers are like, oh, Goblin Slayer did it, we're safe now, because he burns down a fortress, uses a little creative thing with like you can cast walls now. We're gonna like put a wall in front of the castle, set it on fire.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward thing he does, and the villagers are like, to them, Goblin Slayer is the hero, not the champions of man.
Yeah.
That was so cool too, how, Priestess has this new ability, and I like how Priestess is also, and again, I don't really remember if this was in the anime, it probably wasn't, but Priestess is like dealing a lot with what happened. She's dealing a lot with these abilities that she's been given to by Mother Earth, I think is who she's praying to. She's questioning whether these gifts that she's been given, if she's using them in the right way, and then she's gaining more abilities. So she's like, is this what you want me to do? Is this what I'm saying? She's like kind of struggling with that.
Yeah.
Like, it is a thing they showed a little bit in the anime. It's just explored a little bit more in the manga enough for you to be like, oh, I can see that's definitely what's happening. In the anime, it's sort of like, oh, that's what they're going, but it's not
Yeah.
dwelled on enough. It's not really.
Yes.
It's
not-
always
they don't take
missing
enough time.
one scene.
Yeah, yeah. They cut it a little too short. a little too short. And Priestess goes back and forth too, and I like her rationalization that she has about the whole thing, because she says, maybe if I wouldn't have gone, maybe if I would have been stronger. And she's like, or it could have all happened anyway. Like, you know, like even if I didn't go. And so she's kind of going through all that, and I like that. And then that's when we get that.
Yeah, because in the city, folks talk about Goblin Slayer enough for like a guy makes money singing about him.
Yeah.
And that's how Megan's Bay finds out.
Oh, that's the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. She's cool.
High Elf Archer.
Yeah, she's the best.
She's all right.
She's the best. She's best girl.
She's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
She's pretty up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's like her, Guild Girl,
Yeah.
high I forgot her
You're gonna
name.
put High Elf Archer
Priestess?
twice?
No, yeah, I was gonna put her twice. Priestess is the bottom. No.
Yeah.
I think Cowgirl might be a
Cowgirl,
little bit
yeah.
Priestess.
Vehemently disagree.
But
Well-
yeah, she's the best.
Yeah, why do you love Cowgirl so much? Oh, I know why.
It's her dedication to the man that she loves.
The weird guy that she loves.
Yeah, the weird guy that can do no wrong in
The
her eyes.
weird, broken, quiet guy.
That
Right.
she thinks the world of. That's what.
Yeah, who has a rough past.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But is moving through it
a lot of trauma.
through dedication.
Yeah, doesn't really know how to
And
interact
she
with
sees
people.
that. She sees that, and she takes him for who he is.
I mean, I do genuinely want to talk about that because I do relate to Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
You know that I don't know how people react when I tell, like, I mean, that's part of it. I don't know how people actually feel when I tell them, like, oh yeah, I had to like look up facial expressions.
Yeah, that's
But
very weird.
I also like when he just says like I see to everything. I'm like, I completely get that because he recognizes like you have to say something when someone's done talking, and he's learned to just say I see.
Right. Now look, I'm no judgment here. This is a safe space, and you know that, Cody.
I don't like the sound of that sentence.
But you genuinely, when you tell people that about you having to look up facial expressions, you don't know how people react to that because you think it's a normal thing? Or
Because to me, I'm like, that's something I had to do. Just like I had to go to speech therapy. I had to like learn how to do facial talks. I had to do a lot of stuff to learn how to like be around people.
Mhm.
And it only kind of worked.
I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think I did a pretty good number on you, Cody.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and give me their info, dude? Because I got some props to give them.
Props? Oh, okay.
I have some notes to give them.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Can we take you back to the shop?
So
And
yeah,
get a couple things patched up.
yeah, I do. But there is I don't know how much of it is me projecting, but I do like a character who goes through stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is nice to see that depicted.
Dude, if you relate to, I could see how you can relate to him. Like, I'm half being funny, half being genuine, but like, I could see how you could relate to him. Like, he is in a lot of the way that you at least describe yourself in social situations. He is that way.
Because the scene of him saying like where he tells Priestess like you're not coming this time, and she like starts crying and she says we should have talked about it, and he goes like we are talking. I'm like, I get that.
Yeah, and to your point, I guess in that moment, like, he is not really aware of how he's coming across.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, he's saying like, he's not saying we are talking about it like in a condescending, passive aggressive way.
Yeah.
He's
like literally we're talking
Yeah.
about it now. I didn't have to talk
We're
about
talking,
it before.
Aren't we talking right now? Like he says like aren't we or something like that. But it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get that, man.
yeah, dude. Wow, Cody. And I think I knew this from the beginning, but yeah, you are Goblin Slayer in a lot of ways, man.
I see. Yeah. No, I don't. It's not. That's why I like this character. And then I like underdog characters, but like actually underdog, not like I was an underdog until I cried and now I'm the overdog.
Overdog.
I don't think that's a term.
It is. It's not used because why would you reference the person who's likely to win? But it's a
Okay.
the terms come from dogfight. So the underdog is the dog you think will lose. The overdog is the dog you think will win. Everyone.
And you're the guy eating the food there.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You're the guy in the corner just like
Good one.
eating all the dog food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is
Not
what
anymore.
Yeah.
this is what sold me on like Goblin Slayer. This is why I liked it so much, like the series in general. We get introduced to 3 more characters that are a part of the story now, which is High Elf Archer, lizard shaman. What's his name?
I'm pretty sure
Lizard
Goblin.
priest?
It's Goblin Slayer, so his name is probably Lizard Shaman.
Lizard shaman.
It's lizard priest because it's
Lizard-
dwarf shaman.
You're right. Okay, dwarf shaman, lizard priest. Love those 3 characters.
Right.
So much fun. They bring so much life into the story because it's kind of just like, okay, Goblin Slayer doing his thing, High Priest is doing her thing, and then it's just like 3 people that are just like they know who they are, and I love them.
Yeah, and they need a human representative because they have to go. They're doing something. It's an elf. They need to rescue an elf, but it's on human territory, and those relationships are really complicated. So they sent an envoy of this, like, basically a team that can go through all the territories and no one have a problem with it because, like, look, we have someone on everywhere. So High Elf Archer specifically wanted Goblin Slayer because of the story she heard about him.
Mm-hmm. Because of the songs that she heard being sang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, we need to do this. We need to go here. And he's like, and we need to fight the Demon King. They're taking over. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Which, hey, I like it. I like that about him. I gotta say,
like, the world's gonna die. The world's gonna burn. He's like, well, before the world burns, villagers are gonna be attacked by goblins.
Yep.
Where do the jokes stop and where does the truth begin? I think is a good thing to say right now because for me, look, I know you hear me talk about Goblin Slayer and you think, does he like it? Does he not like it? And I'm here to give you the answer finally, Cody.
Okay.
After consumed it in every medium forcefully, the spoon has been shoved down my throat.
Hey, and sometimes you like those spoons.
Sometimes I do like the spoons. Sometimes I like the spoons right away, and sometimes it takes a couple spoonfuls before I'm
you
like,
get accustomed,
right? And then you get used to the spoon being in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes practice.
It takes practice. Not everybody's good at it right away. You gotta work at it. Yeah. And so I will say this. I'm here to say breaking news. This is a big deal for me. I liked the manga a lot. I'll say a lot.
I was just expecting more than
he blacked out with rage. He was like,
yeah,
and then he switched back into.
He was going into a defensive mode.
Yeah,
the
I know.
manga
I saw the aura.
is significantly better than the anime. And it's only significantly better by a couple of scenes, but they make such a big impact on the character.
Ain't that just the way, though?
Yeah, it is just the way.
Sometimes manga, just an anime, it gets lost in translation. Also, scenes that are taken out, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Just do the thing that's on the page.
Showing people showing especially Cowgirl reacting to when Goblin Slayer is basically starts just going on a tangent where they're like, I see it as him just going like, and then they take your sister, and it's like clearly that, he can't help himself once he starts going. That's how it comes across, and then you see her being like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He's spiraling.
Yeah.
Get him off the dirt.
She's like, Mother Earth? Yeah. Big yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, Mother Earth, what is she upon him?
That was
Yeah. Yeah, stick to rock climbing.
Yeah,
dude.
stick to the rock climbing jokes, yeah?
Yeah.
I know you rock climb, but that was still a reach.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
And you
had more. You had more.
No, I think I don't know, the fight scenes don't come across the same way they do in the anime that they do in the manga.
They don't. And I wrote points down that I want to, because I wasn't sure how concise I was going to be able to be. When it comes to this series, I have a lot of emotions. But like I said, the introduction held more weight. Goblin Slayer, less cold, more calculated. You guys like that? Remember?
It was a solid turn phrase.
So much. I wrote that down. The story overall was paced so much better. And I empathized. Hard word.
I'm not even going to call you out.
No,
Thank
keep
you,
going.
Yeah, I empathized more with the villagers and the village people, right? Not the band, not the group. And the priest decides story. Oh no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. But we are going to talk about the priest decides story. Oh no, again. So fun. Try it at home with your friends. But yeah, you guys read that little? Did you guys read the little light novel excerpt, the little side story?
Wasn't there a couple?
There was just one.
Cody's
with
farting.
Yeah,
I didn't fart.
Yeah, you did.
There was just one with her sick in a tent. And then that's all the story was. She was just sick in a tent.
I don't think I read that.
I don't think I read that either.
What the fuck?
Oh, well,
She's just sick in a tent?
She's just sick in a tent. But it was really cute.
What did she do? She was like, "Oh, I'm sick in a tent."
Right. And
What did she say? Like, oh, here I am, sick in a tent.
yeah, she was sick in a tent.
Okay, how many times?
I keep saying it.
Is there more to that?
I'm telling you guys,
She was sick in a tent.
She was sick.
She was sick.
Yeah.
But how sick? Like really sick in a
Like
tent?
tent sick, yeah.
Oh, like tent
It was
sick.
intense.
It was a 1 out of 10.
Oh, it was intense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
You said 1 out of 10?
Yeah. I said 1 out of 10.
I mean,
I think I win. But
come on, you did not.
What
win.
was her
Comments
fever?
below.
110?
right.
That was the improved version of yours.
Okay, I think mine was pretty good.
They
Out
were
of the
both
gate.
10 puns, so.
Oh, well, one was done spur of the moment, one was built off of something else, so who gets more credit,
Well, it's the top of the pyramid and you were the base.
I'll take it, dude. I'll take it. Because I'm a good foundation. Yeah. Yeah, you can build a house on me.
We brought it right around.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you guys didn't read that, dude, because here, let me tell you what I liked about it. It gave me a little taste of the light novel, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I've never read a light novel before. I've read books before, but I don't know why. If I'm going to, even with ReZero, I'd rather read the manga version or watch the anime. I got nothing against light novels, but...
I think Bunny Girl Senpai, if I'm not mistaken, is a light novel.
And you know what?
The Rascal Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai.
I do want to get around to reading
title.
light novels. I do want to get around to giving them a shot. But having never read one, I got this little excerpt and I enjoyed it. Look, having read other fiction, I can't say it feels more straightforward, I guess. Sometimes in a lot of fiction, there's a lot of words. You're dancing around kind of what you're saying. You're making it a little more beautiful. You're putting a little twang on it. You're really selling what you're saying.
Word foreplay.
Yeah, but here it was very just like matter of fact.
I'm just doing what Cody's doing.
I was just appreciating word because it was like that itself was wordplay. I was just soaking in that.
Oh.
You said word foreplay, and I'm like, but that itself is wordplay.
I mean, Megan is a genius.
And then what Megan did was like, and Cody sits like this. Like, he's like, all right, well, I was appreciating you.
I'm sorry, I took it off of me.
Yeah. She didn't know what you were going for. In her defense, you did look like you were judging her a little bit. Yeah,
I see.
Well, I'm glad you finally see the error of your ways, dude.
Oh, I don't know.
Can I finish saying what I
Yeah,
want to
so
say?
she was
Sure.
sick in a tent.
I'm sorry I enjoyed this a little bit more than I thought I would, Cody. Something that is so near and dear to your heart. I'm sorry that I actually gave it a 5th chance, and this time was like,
as far as people on
it's
YouTube
not
are
so bad.
concerned, it's your first
time,
chance.
yeah.
So
first time.
in the Goblin Slayer, you liked it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. But look, it's a little more straightforward. The light
And
novel section is.
Megan read year 1 almost completely caught up.
You read
Not
that?
almost completely caught up, but I read up to chapters 24. Chapter 24 on year 1. So that's when we just get introduced to another character that I'm like, oh, I like her, but she's probably gonna die. I mean, I can't really get attached to anyone.
And
but
in year 1, you go to see Cowgirl. She was a goth in her childhood.
she was.
Okay, Cody. You gotta get a new type. Goth cowgirls do not exist.
Dude,
in
I matched
real
with
life.
one on Tinder, and I almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, and it worked out great, right? You guys are still together.
Oh,
No, of course not.
Josh.
No,
Josh.
you reacting that way is worse.
It is kind of worse. It is kind of worse.
Sorry.
Like, Josh, you know they didn't.
You know they didn't have a good happily ever after.
I mean, just look at him.
Oh, okay. Stop it. I'm going to hate you. That's not nice, Josh.
This is
The Sick in a Tent. Little excerpt story.
Good. Okay, let's move on.
what about the excerpt?
So, it was a little more straightforward, like I was saying, but it was cute. It was Priestess basically walking us through. She was adventuring with Goblin Slayer and came down with a cold because she wasn't used to being in all these conditions.
Did he help her?
And that's the thing. It's like
He helped her when she was sick?
yeah, he helped her in his Goblin Slayer way.
What did he do?
You know, he would come in and check on her. You know, she'd wake up in a little daze like all cute and shit, and she'd be looking at him, and he'd be like making her food or something, and telling
I need
her,
to get sick in a tent ASAP.
you need to get sick in a tent.
Oh my God.
But then she's kind of, we're getting, and what I love about, I guess, books in general, like Cody was saying, some things you can't put into a manga, like how people say things sometimes, but we get a lot of internal monologue. And that's what I really liked about this, was that it was all from Priestess's POV. And so we're seeing sort of how she really feels about Goblin Slayer and how she really reacts to him. And we're getting none of it from him. And I really like that a lot, because that's where I got that feeling again, where it solidified for me that, man, she really looks up to this guy. Like she's worried. She's like, is he going to not let me adventure with him anymore because I'm sick? Is this like an amateur rookie move to get sick? Maybe I'm not that sick. Maybe I can get up and maybe I could just, shake it off and pretend that I'm okay and we could still keep going. She feels like she's holding him back, and why is he giving me this chance? And I want to, do right by him. And it's just like all from her point of view, and I really like that.
If you go through any book, audio, whatever, you like, if you like see those kinds of internal monologues, like if they adapt this, that's just gone.
Yeah, I mean, you just get her in a tent looking at Goblin Slayer like,
oh my god, I don't like how that was actually kind of good.
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Oh my god.
You're welcome.
I feel weird now.
Yeah, anytime you guys want me to do that, I can do that for you.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
But yeah, all that's gone. All that's gone for one little noise, and maybe I got to read more light novels.
Yeah.
And maybe I got to.
The ultimate form of artistic expression is in books.
I really love books, man.
Except,
love a good
I think
book.
mangas are like, I'm like American media. I mean, mangas are like not as much that, because it's like a lot of times it's the person drawing it that's writing it. So like,
Yeah.
maybe ultimate isn't the right word, but like you just get more character and moments that just can't be depicted in other media. You can't have like a scene devoted to like, and here's what they were thinking when they just go like, cool.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get adapted. They're gonna be like, cool, and you lose that entire context where they go like, but what he said cool, and it reminded him of his father used to be cool.
And sometimes we get those internal, like anime is notorious for, and maybe that's why I really love anime so much, is because it is notorious for having a lot of internal monologue. When there's a fight happening, you're always getting the main character's thoughts as it's happening. And that is why I think, compared to books, it's the closest kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was so cool to see it this way. Goblin Slayer and Priestess, their relationship this way. And then at the very end, we got the little cute chibi. I always forget what they call him, Gobslay son.
He's like a stuffed animal or something.
He's just like little for no reason.
Yeah.
And he exists in this world as if he's normal. He's like climbing, like hanging off the desk. Just like, you got any goblins for me? And she's like, he's fucking little. And that's the whole joke both times, but it's funny. It works.
Good.
Anyway, to wrap it up, I think, if you're on the fence about Goblin Slayer, I suggest reading the manga from someone who has seen it in almost every other format and in every kind of out of order. I think that the best way to do it is going into the manga. I enjoyed it a lot more than I did just having seen the anime. I think for all the points I made earlier, it's just better. And I'm sure the light novel, Cody, maybe you can attest to this, is even better than the manga.
Especially because it's a character who doesn't say that much. So like in a novel, you're like, oh, that doesn't affect the story or my view of this character at all, because I know what he's saying because they narrated it. And and then as the further down the road you get, you're like, well, we're losing a lot of narration here, which means he's just saying single words, and you don't get what he's actually thinking when he says that, and you don't get to see what people are thinking when he says that. So you just get pretty basic dialogue.
Right. But Megan, how did you feel? In conclusion, how did you feel?
Let me read what I wrote, because it's pretty.
And look,
funny.
We had to do this for you too. But hey,
we're done.
If this doesn't get views, then I'll stop bringing them up. But this was my final. We had to do this before we can do maybe
our
a
last hurrah.
But if this does get views, you bet your ass I'll be bringing it up until we get a volume done going.
Do I like it more than the anime? No.
Oh.
Is the art good? Yes. Will I continue reading the manga? Probably not. But I do enjoy what did I say? The series as a whole again.
Okay.
You know, it's good if you like D&D type stories. Not my favorite genre, but I do like it. And people who enjoy revenge stories as well. Wish Clannad got this much coverage, and that's what I wrote.
Oh, right.
We can do an episode on Clannad.
Can we do
wouldn't
5?
Wouldn't hell freeze over, huh?
Yeah, hell would freeze over.
We did that, huh?
Is Clannad, does it exist in a manga?
I might be a light novel, honestly. I don't know. It does exist in like a game format though.
Okay.
But it's
like
not
a web novel?
It's not translated. I think it was a web novel, and then it got to
Or what's the term for
PlayStation.
the games where it's
motion comic? I
just
think.
motion?
Or no, I think it's called. I
There's
don't know.
something
What's that?
novel.
Yeah.
No, it's not a graphic novel. It's the I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
I'm spacing
Well,
like a fucking...
someone will let us know. in the
Comment
comments,
below,
yeah.
and then we'll edit in the correct. We'll edit in Josh saying the correct version.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here, I'll even move my mouth.
Good.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I did enjoy it. I mean, I saw the differences between the manga and the anime. Like I said, I have consumed a lot of this series, so I'm not like shocked or like amazed by anything different. But it was fine.
You like the anime more? I mean, that's what you wrote down, right?
Yeah, no, I think I do.
Yeah?
I think I do. Just because it's just a lot more like, oh, this is what, like, it's not as not dark, but I don't know, I like putting the voices to the characters, and I like High Elf Archer and that group, and they're really funny to watch on screen, so I do like him
All right.
more a little bit.
And you
Cody?
know, as the story goes on, the plot, the story gets a lot lighter. I mean, they go to the elf's her sister gets married.
Right.
They go to fairs.
I would say I like year one better than I like the anime.
Okay.
Okay.
All
yeah,
right.
you were reading year one, and I was like, you don't have to do that, but you were reading it. I'm like,
Yeah.
She could do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
you get to see the origin of.
Yeah.
It's that classic '80s movie where someone does a makeup thing, and they're like, "Oh, here's my makeover. You look so much better before." That's how it was when Cowgirl left her goth phase.
No, she
Like,
cut
why-
it, and
why
she was
would
like,
you
"Do you like my
get over
haircut?"
it? Yeah.
And then and then Gosler was like, "Yeah, actually, it looks good." She was like, "Dokie dokie."
Now, Cody, for everybody watching and everybody listening
Each week.
each week, bring us home, dude. Tell people why they should read it. Tell them why you like him and it. Give them your final thoughts. Bring us home, Cody.
Well, I did a lot of the first stuff. That was what we were talking about.
I think he already did that. So
oh, well, that was a little anticlimactic then.
Yeah. I like it. I mean, I get people if you're like, I can't because of that subject matter. I'm not gonna watch something like that. And I usually talk to my roommates about because one of them reads mangas and like watches anime. So I usually tell them like, oh, you should check out Tokyo Revengers. You should check out this or this. I will never even bring up Goblin Slayer to them because I'm like, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but like Megan said, if you like fantasy, D&D style type stories, it's definitely worth checking out.
And
Not to make light of the thing, this is a story we've read a bunch of times, so not to make light of all that other stuff that does happen in the beginning, but if that's something that you're sensitive to, avoid this.
yeah, you don't need to. You don't really need. It's not like there's no reason.
Yeah, there's no reason to put yourself through that for this.
No.
but like if you want a character like I really love the way he fights. I it's really nice seeing him be like I like fight narration when it's like not so much I need to put more strength into it, where it's like if I have to attack him here, if he's gonna do this, I have to be like, I have to make sure everyone's dead. The double tap that got memed in Zombieland or whatever.
Yeah, it's very strategic fighting, and you're being walked through that, and I like that.
Yeah, because and you will see as it goes on when he does make a single mistake, he like it almost takes him out of like
The zone.
living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like how you looked at me. It's almost like another parallel between you and Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, if someone just makes the wrong move too many times.
Okay,
All right, and we're done.
Okay,
And
and
we're done. And we're done. Thank you for watching and listening. As always, this has been our Goblin Slayer sort of redone. Like I said, it's really kind of a volume 1. We've never talked about the manga, the first volume of the manga before, even though we've
Yeah.
talked about it a million times in many other ways. If you have read Goblin Slayer, let us know in the comments
And
down below.
Even if you've listened to every audio and you're like, I don't need to hear this again, as a favor, just say volume done, please, and then I get to talk more about this.
See?
Because this
See?
is
Don't
this,
tell them to
this
do
is
that.
the
Don't
tell them to
this
do
is
that.
the
Don't tell
final
them. They don't wanna
frontier. This is my last attempt.
No, it's not.
Because no, I have.
Megan, yes,
we
it
have
is.
not had a single Clannad episode, and I'm not going to do a volume done on Goblin Slayer until I get my way.
Unless we get
Megan,
several
you can have
comments.
whatever
For
you want.
Josh, I think your meter is around 4.
Sure, yeah.
No, it has to be way
But for
more.
Goblin
we need
Sla- no.
berserk numbers to get a fucking Goblin
Yeah, but for
Slayer.
Goblin Slayer, it's
That's not fair.
I know it's not. That's why I'm saying
For
it.
the record, one of us
That's
was
why
really
I'm
into
saying
older
it.
manga.
and for the record,
For the record, we've already done this 4 or 5 times.
yeah, for the record.
Not on YouTube.
Okay, well, guess what? Now we have, and that's it.
I think that Cody should do a standalone episode with just him.
You know, I
Oh.
wouldn't suggest we do a standalone episode for Clannad. I was actually excited to do one with that.
Okay, but it's different because I've never done a Clannad episode ever. So
yeah,
it's-
maybe.
the lever just a little.
But we have watched it with you.
Okay,
Up until
comment.
the,
I'm going to be
up
nice
until
for Cody.
the starfish
if you
arc.
comment volume,
Yeah.
don't talk about that arc.
Don't lose your train of thought. You got
Don't
this.
talk about that arc, Cody.
Megan, ignore him.
Volume done on Goblin Slayer. Go ahead, comment if you want it, and if you don't want it, comment if you don't want it.
Yeah, this is the only one I'll say. You know, if you do want it, say I want it, and if you don't want it, say I don't want
Say
it.
I don't want it. I
Yeah.
don't want Goblin Slayer fucking you.
Which, I mean, I already won.
So, okay, how about
Yeah.
this? How about this? Let's make it a sweeter deal. Goblin Slayer Year 1 done.
Okay, and then, but maybe just the festival arc in the manga. That's all I wanted to
How
get to.
many
You.
volumes is Goblin Slayer?
I think it's on like 6 or something. I don't know. It's not. It's
It's
not,
ongoing.
Yeah, it's still going, but it's not. It's not that old.
Okay.
Point is, let us know. That's our Goblin Slayer episode,
Do you? All right,
and we
can-
may or may not talk about it again, depending on you watching and
Oh
listening.
fuck.
if you want to do
Fuck you
the,
guys.
Yeah. I'm scared.
there's a good. If you want to like do the game where I'm going to describe to you, a character describes an emotion in this book, and I want you to
Uh-huh.
try to like capture that in your facial
Oh,
expressions.
okay. Okay.
Okay, before we do that,
No.
this is going to be the ending
No.
bit. So I just want to thank everybody as always for watching
Please.
and listening, and we have to shout out our Patreon
Yes!
Oh,
Yes.
we got
Thank you so
like
much.
we got new
Yes.
ones, don't we?
Yay.
members. Yes, Cameron. Shout out Cameron.
Shout out.
Yeah, he is part of one of our new tiers, Cure Cody's Depression, and that's a great.
It's already. You know what's
What a
funny
great
is I have
starter.
actually started feeling.
You
better.
have been feeling a little bit better for real.
Aw.
You have. And so if you'd like to attempt to cure Cody's
That's actually-
depression.
I think it happened around that same time.
And there's a
So
lot
that's
of
not a
good
coincidence.
perks in that tier, guys. It's
Yeah.
not just throwing it out there for Cody's sake. It's to benefit
Yeah.
you as well.
Yeah, you get a free shirt, you get stickers, you get a lot of stuff. And then
Yeah.
we also have another new tier called Don't Bully Me Volume 1 Chan. Those are both new tiers at our Patreon, offer a few more perks, offer a few more benefits. So if you want to sign up for one of those, then you can do that by going to patreon.com/volume1pod. And again, if you are a Patreon member, we appreciate every single one of you. We love every single one of you. You guys are beautiful. You guys are pure. You guys are, just like, I just like you guys a lot.
Yeah, I like you guys a lot too.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
like you guys a lot.
Yeah, I like you guys.
like you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
not just
yeah.
like you guys.
Yeah, I like you guys. And if your way of showing your support is by watching or listening or subscribing
yeah.
or thumbs up, I like you guys a lot too. Yeah. Thank you for supporting no matter which way or how you can. We appreciate all of it. Like I said, not everybody can afford to
Oh yeah, no
subscribe on
commenters. If you just
Patreon.
like a
Algorithm
video,
gang.
like our Instagram page.
Yeah.
If you don't follow us on Instagram, we got some funny clips every week. Catch them
each week.
each week.
And we appreciate all of you guys, no matter who you are, what you do, as long as you're showing love and as long as you're showing support. And so that's going to do it for this episode. We're going to get out of here on our new segment that's never been done before. It's going to be kind of made up on the spot. Cody, take it away.
All right, Megan, I want you to.
This is not funny. Okay.
All right, so all right,
Mm-hmm.
all right. I did my
this through.
okay.
You're making
She
a lot
looked.
of mouth
I
noises right now.
literally right about to.
Okay.
Okay. All right. She looks shocked as though you heard thumping noise in your parents' bedroom, and you creak slowly and you open the door, and you see that your mom is fucking a dog.
Wow. And
So-
tune into the YouTube if you can't see the face. If you're just listening on audio only, wow, what a face.
So that's from the book John Dies at the End. That's how he describes how shocked he was.
Oh,
Wow.
that's from John Dies at the End.
Yeah.
Was that good? Was a level
That
of
was
shock
fantastic.
there? Okay.
It was like intense, but also a little subtle, which made it feel a little real.
Yeah, I log these expressions.
Oh, people, you walking in on your mom fucking a
Okay,
dog.
now
when
Cody, give
I
us-
was listening to it, that's when I mimic these expressions. I also log it in as like that is a unique expression I've never felt before.
Now, Cody,
Okay,
give
let me
us
just
let's
log it
say
in.
same thing. Let's say okay, give it again for the
Oh,
camera.
oh.
That was the look I made
Oh.
in when I was reading or when I was listening to the book. Just
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
You're really missing out if you're not watching this
Yeah.
on YouTube. Wow.
so go ahead and
Um,
practice facial expressions by listening to them be described. It's very fun.
Okay. You guys didn't give me a turn though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you want to go through the narration again?
You want to give me a new one, or you want to give me to do the same
Yeah,
one?
give him a new one.
That was all I had.
Oh.
Megan, you want to give me one, or I could do the same one.
Okay, yeah, I have one.
Okay, go.
Okay. You're sleeping
Okay, go.
and you wake up.
I sleep with my mouth open.
Okay, you wake up
Uh-huh.
and you're sick in a tent. And Goblin Slayer comes up to you and puts his hand on your forehead to check your temperature.
Okay, we don't.
And he caresses your face a little bit. Yeah. And
Megan,
then
why are you?
Keep going, Megan. Keep going.
and then he and then
And then what? And then what?
Just
I'm in it. Go.
I
don't wanna go any
Yeah,
farther.
let's.
that was enough. You gave enough an emotion.
I thought it was good.
No, it was very good.
Thank you.
Cody's just like a hater.
Yeah, he's a
That is true.
freaking hater. Thank you guys as always for watching and listening. All that's left now to do is get out of here on our outro. It's always the same and never changes, which today is
I see.
I see.
okay. Is that your pitch for the end?
Yeah.
I think it should be. I think we had some good stuff. Oh, holy shit.
Oh, holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Are we all gonna do the voice?
Yeah, I'll do the voice.
Yeah. Okay. God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. Thank you guys as always for watching and listening. And until next time.
Oh, holy shit!
That's gonna sound so terrible.
Holy shit! Holy shit! Whoa!
That was Cody.